Would you ever consider making a run for the presidency?
He knew that was coming.
Charlie Kirk was going to be our president. He could have been the president. Boy was 31 years old, and he already was the key matchmaker, power broker, fundraiser, institution builder. There is no way Charlie Kirk would not have been president of the United States.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband and JD.
For a long time, Charlie Kirk acted like a behind-the-scenes power player, someone who helped decide things without being the main face. But quietly, there were clues that he wanted more than influence. He wanted the Oval Office. And based on what people are now saying, the moment donors started realizing Charlie might actually run in 2028, everything shifted. His name was never meant to be on a 2028 ballot. For years, people laughed off the idea of Charlie running for president. Some mocked it, while others secretly liked the thought. But when you really look at what Charlie was doing toward the end of his life, it suddenly makes sense. Michael Knowles said Charlie Kirk would have been president. His close friends knew it. His supporters knew it. Even his critics knew it. And Knowles pointed to the massive things Charlie pulled off, like starting Turning Point USA at just 18, speaking at the Republican National Convention at 22, and then, within 3 years, helping deliver the first Republican popular vote win in 2 decades. So the question becomes, why wouldn't he be presidential material? In the months leading up to his death, Charlie was openly talking about 2028, not in a fan fantasy way, but in a calculated, strategic way. He talked about JD Vance as a future president, yes, but he also clearly placed himself in that same discussion, especially during one of his private gatherings.
Would you ever consider making a run for the presidency?
He knew that was coming.
Here's the part people keep ignoring. Charlie never actually took himself out of the race.
I'm 31 years old. I got a great life. And my mission right now is defend the Trump administration on the great stuff they're doing, get JD Vance elected as the next president of the United States in 2028.
He didn't say, "I will never run." What he said was, "Not right now."
And if they ever run out of people, I don't even know if I would consider it. You know why? People say, are you going to run for Senate or Congress? I'd say, listen, honestly, I think the impact we're making is bigger than sometimes some of the U.S. senators. I don't know if you guys agree or not.
While all of this was happening out in the open, something else was happening quietly behind closed doors. This is where the story about donor panic begins.
Before he lost his life, Charlie surprised the company by announcing that he was putting together a Doge department. Yes, Department of Government Efficiency, like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy had set out to do. Trump won. They got behind him, right? They said, hey, there's a lot of pork. We don't know where this money is going. People are just accepting checks. Again, this is the whole purpose of the Department of Doge. You put us in there, and we're going to figure out how all of these bureaucrats are just wasting tax dollars.
Charlie reportedly started pushing back against the same people who were funding Turning Point USA. Not over beliefs, but over money. Behind the scenes, he allegedly began asking tough questions about how money was moving through Turning Point-related groups. He wasn't just asking where the money came from, but where it was going, who really controlled it, and why the same contractors kept showing up under different company names. He even mentioned the idea of a Doge-style audit. To the public, that might sound casual, but internally, that kind of talk is dangerous, especially in a nonprofit world where millions of dollars flow through private companies linked to insiders.
So to be clear, that was another point that they gaslit me on when I told you that it was unusual that 7 days before Charlie died, he said that he wanted to establish Doge, right? Tyler came out and lied, and he said, this is just totally regular. And Alex Clark said, oh, every year since I've been here, this is what we do. And the guy starts this video by being like, you have to be an idiot to accept that as an answer.
That's when he said something that should never be said out loud if you want donors to stay calm. Audits. If that doesn't sound serious, let me explain it simply. Turning Point USA isn't just a nonprofit. It's a huge political operation where millions of dollars pass through fundraising firms, marketing agencies, and consulting groups, many of which are connected to insiders. It's a closed system, and closed systems hate transparency. What made it worse is that all of this was happening while
This is a massive red flag. So Tyler Boyer is being snarky on X.com and telling people to go look at the annual financial audit, but the financial audit is missing from last year for 3 of the 4 organizations. This strange decision to hide their financial statements happened 4 months before Charlie Kirk was murdered.
people were starting to see Charlie as a possible future president. Now fast forward to after his death and watch how quickly that future gets rewritten.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD. Help me welcome to the stage Vice President JD.
Almost right away, Erica Kirk stepped into a leadership role. Instead of continuing Charlie's path of questioning donors, tightening oversight, and auditing the system, Turning Point quickly shifted focus to JD Vance. Erica then took the stage to praise JD, and the speech felt quietly strange. But it didn't stop there. Erica didn't just support JD politically. She became noticeably close to him. They started appearing at the same events. She spoke about him with way more emotion than most people expected. And then there was that hug.
So for those of you who know me, I hug. It's
Yes,
like
you're an intense hugger. It's
whoever
awesome.
is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves. I will give you a free hug anytime you want a hug. My love language is touch, if you will. But seriously, that hug. So I will give you a play-by-play. Like walking, they just played the emotional video. I'm walking over, he's walking over, I'm starting to cry. He says, he's so proud of you. And I say, God bless you. And I touch the back of his head.
Because that wasn't a normal interaction, especially only weeks after Charlie had died. Later, Erica came out and explained what happened.
You really want to know why they took out Charlie Kirk? I'll tell you why. It's because this man's ideas, his principles, his philosophy was shifting the minds of the next generation. And the establishment, a lot of people on the left, they fear that. Why do they fear that, you may ask? Because their ideas are garbage.
The moment Charlie began threatening donor interests and positioning himself as more than just a messenger, the system started seeing him as a problem. JD Vance, on the other hand, plays by the rules. He doesn't talk about audits or challenge powerful people. That's why he's safe. So was Charlie meant to be the future only until he became inconvenient? Because once you line up the timeline, it stops feeling random and starts feeling like a plan that changed halfway through. And the next part of the story isn't about Charlie at all. It's about how JD Vance quietly became the only acceptable future and what had to disappear for that future to stay intact.